Kabuto Yakushi wasn't born a villain. He wasn't driven by revenge, he wasn't chasing peace, and he wasn't even chasing power. Kabuto became dangerous because he was never allowed to be anyone at all. In a series full of tragic backstories, Kabuto stands out for a different reason. Not because of what he lost, but because of what he was never given. Kabuto grows up in an orphanage tied to the Root Foundation. From the very beginning, his existence is transactional. He's allowed to live as long as he's useful, as long as he gathers information, as long as he serves a purpose, etc. No one asks what Kabuto wants, and no one asks who he is. Because in Root, identity isn't something you discover. It's something that gets erased. Kabuto learns early that survival doesn't come from being yourself. It comes from becoming whatever the world needs you to be. And that lesson stays with Kabuto forever. The closest Kabuto ever gets to a real identity comes from the woman who raises him, the caretaker at the orphanage. She gives him something no one else ever has. A name, a role, a sense of belonging. For the first time, Kabuto isn't a tool. He's a person. And then, the Root takes that away too. He's sent on a mission where he's unknowingly pitted against her, forced to fight, and forced to kill. The moment Kabuto realizes what he's done is the moment his identity collapses completely. Because the one person that knew who he really was dies by his own hand. From that moment on, Kabuto doesn't just lose someone he loved. He loses the proof that he's ever mattered as himself. This is where Orochimaru enters Kabuto's life. And on the surface, it looks like salvation. Orochimaru gives Kabuto purpose, direction, power. But what he doesn't give him is identity. Instead of teaching Kabuto how to find himself, he only taught him how to replace himself. New abilities, new DNA, new faces. Kabuto starts borrowing pieces from other people because he has no idea who he is on his own. Power becomes a substitute for self. Not because Kabuto wants to be strong, it's because strength gives him definition. By the time we see Kabuto in the war arc, he isn't just one person anymore. He's many. He carries the abilities of others, the ambitions of others, the identities of others. Because no matter how powerful he becomes, he still doesn't know who Kabuto Yakushi is without someone else attached to him. And this is where Kabuto contrasts Naruto perfectly. Naruto grows by incorporating pain, loss, and bonds into an identity. Kabuto grows by accumulating identities until his own disappears completely. When Kabuto faces Itachi, it isn't a battle meant to destroy him. It's a confrontation meant to stop him. Izanami traps Kabuto in a loop, forcing him to repeat the same moment again and again. But this isn't punishment. It's reflection. For the first time in his life, Kabuto can't escape into another role. He can't borrow someone else's power or hide behind anyone else's will. He's forced there to sit with himself. And that's the most terrifying thing that he's ever faced. Kabuto's story doesn't end with forgiveness. It ends with acceptance. Not the world accepting him, but Kabuto finally accepting himself. Understanding that identity isn't something you steal or earn through usefulness. Identity is something you choose. Kabuto Yakushi was never allowed to be himself. Not as a child, not as a shinobi, not as a weapon. And by the time he tried to define himself, he had already forgotten how. If you ever felt like you were becoming what the world needed instead of what you wanted to be, you're not alone. And maybe that's why Kabuto's story still hurts. If there's another Naruto character you think deserves this kind of breakdown, let me know in the comments. And I'll see you guys next week.